And then Fussy, Dutoy. And also, what can he make of this opportunity? Stepping this way, then that. Comes for Dutoy. They will not be denied. Pollard. Gathers the grubber. It is now officially a right. Well, he's got them apart and then called the end of the game, and they've done it in style. On the Castle Lager Rugby Championship, champions of 2024.
Castle Lager champions of 2024, the Springboks. Well done. Congratulations to Sia Kolisi and Rassie Rasmus for winning the Rugby Championship after 5 long years. Fantastic results for the Springboks over the weekend. Emphatic win against Argentina. It was a routing. Like we said last week, I mean, no one probably predicted Argentina would surprise the Springboks. But yeah, very good results from the Springboks. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Rugby Scoop Pod. I'm not by myself. I'm with the usual crew. Vickers Miranda, Hugh Griffin, the gardener, the weatherman, Jade Craig. Start off with you. How are you doing today? How's the weekend? Enjoyed the footy over the weekend, and I can imagine having to watch URC, having to watch Rugby Championship. But anyway, how was your weekend?
Mate, I even have a Twitter account dedicated to the top 14. I didn't get to watch any of it. There's too much footy this weekend. I even tried to watch some of the WXV that's going on, and I watched Wales, and that didn't bring me any joy. And I watched the Scarlets, and that brought me joy for 10 minutes, and then for 70 minutes didn't bring me any joy for that. But then I got to watch Rally Le Boc for an hour, and that brought me joy. So I hope that's what we get to focus on mostly this week.
Fair enough. Vickers, how are things your side?
Oh, good, brother. Just a little bit cold, started to get nippy. So hopefully the heating system will kick on soon. But everything is good, easy, nice and easy. Yep.
Fair enough. I was trying to avoid the weather content this week, but now you've just reminded us. And as I'm going to Jade.
No, bro, not this much. I don't know if it's not so cold.
Jade, you can't blame me for this one. It's all Vickers' fault. I'm sorry.
Vickers' fault, but yeah, what? No, I'll give it to you. Movement thing. I don't even thought of cold. I don't know. Yesterday we were rocking white beaters. Tomorrow we gotta take the jackets out again. I don't know. It's like the weather is like the Allblacks form recently.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what's not the Allblacks form is the news and headlines this past week. Congratulations, first of all, to the Springboks, obviously, for winning the Rugby Championship 2024. There's news coming from England. Felix Jones has been sidelined from the English camp as RFU attempt to avoid a repeat of the Eddie Jones situation. Hugh? I don't know. But anyway, Damian Willemse is back from injury. He started for the Stormers in this past weekend's URC. And also there's rumors circulating in Ireland. Johnny Sexton is to make a dramatic return to Irish footy. He might take up the role of skills and kicking coach. That could be very interesting for Ireland. And URC played this weekend as well. It wasn't all just internationals. So you had the results are as follows. Ospreys beating the Stormers 37-24. Connacht beating the Sharks 36-30. Sharks, I don't know what was happening. I think the Sharks have Curry Cup hangover there because apparently they were leading at some point by 20 points and obviously squandered that lead to actually lose to Connacht by 6 points at the end. Scarlets against Cardiff Rugby. Cardiff Rugby winning that by 24-15. Zebra beating Munster. What an upset. 42-33. Incredible. Blue Bulls winning against Edinburgh 22-16. And the Lions also winning against Ulster 35-22. I mean, not bad results for some South African teams, but the other two, Sharks and the Stormers, obviously not getting over the line on those games. You had also Glasgow Warriors trumping Benetton. So Glasgow Warriors defending champions, continuing where they left off, which is pretty good. And then Leicester Tigers beating Dragons 34-6. That's about it. But today, guys, we will be discussing the Springboks' victory over Argentina in our first segment. Second segment, we will be looking at the All Blacks and Australia. Where to from now for those particular two teams? But the Argentina-England, there are Argentina-South Africa game. There are certain elements that we need to dissect. There's positional changes. Do those players stay in those positions until the end of the year tour? Or do we make changes? And then the most important one, we've decided that each and every member of this segment, or besides myself, I'm the adjudicator. So Vuyo Zanga, Hugh Griffin, Jade Craig, they have put together team of the tournament, the the Rugby Championship team of the tournament. That's going to be a very interesting. They've made their own picks. No one is privy to anyone's selection. Let's see how much rugby knowledge, analytics, game breakdown, the feel, how much they know about this game by selecting the best team from the Rugby Championship this past week. Vickers, let's not waste any time. Let's jump into it with the Springboks and Argentina. Not going to ask you what you thought of the game, but what stood out for you last night and why?
Yeah, look, I think we all know. I mean, the Boks just kept the ball away from Argentina, and they kept on. At some stage, we had like a massive control of the territory and the game and the position. So I think for me, the things that mostly stood out is how on defense we rectified that outside in defense. It was more aggressive this time around, that outside in. And it was at a couple of times we had two guys going into that channel just to close them off. So I think one of the lineouts where Argentina hit middle and they hit open side, we had Jasper Wiese hanging around on the blind side just because obviously it was that we knew that they're going to try and get around that area. And then Argentina's continuity, they tried that continuity game because obviously we know if you get the Springboks set on defense, then it becomes a lot more difficult. So they tried to, I think they scored their first try like that with an offload, running into those shoulders, those arms, getting an offload. I think that was good. It wasn't great from them to lose, obviously, Chaco Barris, and I think there was another player they lost in the first, literally in the first couple of minutes the game started. Then I think just from there, I think we all know the scrums. The scrums were a mess for Argentina, unfortunately. That's where they literally spent a lot of their energy trying to stop the Boks from those scrums. They did well on their scrums though, because they played channel one ball and the ball was in and out. But obviously, when the Boks had the ball, they took advantage of it. That's just a few things from my side. I think, we all knew there's going to be forward dominant, and I think the Springboks literally were having frivolous with the ball in hand. Their forwards were having so many touches at the ball. So I think, it goes to show that if you allow the team to be on top of you, then they don't stop.
Yeah, no, 100%. Hugh, maybe we need to stop hyping up Argentina because last week, obviously, everybody was impressed. We never expected, actually 2 weeks back, we never expected Argentina to actually get one over this current Springbok team. They surprised everyone from last week's results. We've spoken on this pod, on the space so many times about how we always hype up Argentina and then you get disappointed at the end. But nonetheless, everyone was talking about the disciplinary aspect leading into this game and how Argentina had no cards, how Argentina was the best disciplined side in this tournament. But a couple of days later, traveling up to Mpumalanga in Mbombela Stadium, 80 minutes of footy, they copped 2 yellow cards and 1 red card. Enough is enough. When do we stop hyping up Argentina?
I don't know. I think that's a little bit unfair. I think they were quite good. They just came up against a side that was absolutely on fire. As Buyo said, the Boks did the damage up front early on, and I think that kind of broke them a little bit. You have to say that Albano's try was very well taken, and I think, what one work on, I think, for the Boks from this whole Rugby Championship is that people do seem to have figured out the star jump defence, as we now call it. They know how to wait for the shooter to come out and then get behind it. So that's something they need to look at moving forward. But I think you just have to credit the Springboks, completely destroyed their opponents. This was the performance that we were waiting for South Africa to put on. We said that they'd won 4 from 5 games, but we don't think they'd put on more than a 7 out of 10 performance. Whereas this was an 8 or a 9 out of 10 performance from the Springboks, probably 9.5. So I think you just have to credit the winning side. In terms of the cards, Matera gets one. He comes off the bench. He's trying to impact the game, and he makes a mistake, rush of blood to the head. I think one of the yellow cards was going for an intercept. They were trying to shut down an overlap. The defender had nothing else that they could have done. And I think the other one was just pressure, wasn't it? Oh, no, it was taking out Fazzi in the air, which, to be fair, I think I saw someone explaining with the way that Fazzi's technique, the way he goes for high balls, is he delays, and then jumps, accelerates very fast. Everything about Fazzi is all about his acceleration. That's what makes him so dangerous. And I think he just caught out the other player. So, I don't know. It wasn't like, apart from Matera, maybe, it wasn't really red mists. And it was in a game that they'd lost anyway. So I think that doesn't take away from what Argentina have done in this tournament. I think they just came up against a team that was playing right to the level of its potential at the weekend.
No, fair. 100%. But Jade, Vuyo speaks about the set piece element, obviously, and Hugh talks about a 9 out of 10 performance from a Springbok perspective. Your thoughts? In particular, what stood out for you in this particular game?
Yeah, it was a start from the Boks. I mean, that first 5 minutes of the game, basically the game was done. And the intensity the Boks came out with, whether they pulled in together because for Eben, or, just to bounce back from last week or just to really get this Rugby Championship done and, to put a marker on it, I think they must have been hurting from last week's performance. And, there's a few guys in this team that, bounce back. I mean, hats off to Mani Lebok, who had a solid game at 10. After all the criticism he got in the week, all the memes and everything, and the hatred and abuse he got, and to pull out a performance like that, a guy like Jaden Hendricks coming in, he was actually brilliant. He added tempo to the game. our wingers, everybody, the whole backline was cooking, and the intensity, and the way the box kept the ball, like you said. I mean, if you look at it, the overall aspect of the game, the box made 17 line breaks. That's scary. I mean, that's scary. I mean, if you're looking at guys like the outside backs, like Fassi scored 2, and I think Chesney Scobie got 1 yesterday. So it just shows you that, they are kicking the ball wide. The back three is getting in the game, and they can hurt you. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a complete performance from the box. I mean, I don't think you'll ever get a complete performance from a team, or Rassi will ever say this is a complete performance. I think there's still certain aspects they can look at. But I mean, they showed innovation. The one line out, I think it was in the 5-meter line where Eben popped the ball back into Peter Steph was on the pot of the back. I mean, there's something, weird reminded me of Rassi a few years back when he was coaching the Cheetahs, and they had a few moves against Western Province, where they kept the guy in the air and, for a few seconds before they threw in. It was all about innovation that we've seen. And I mean, they look like a team that's really enjoying the rugby. They look like a tight unit group, and they're trying to bring new stuff, to the game. They're innovating the game. So for me, doing that and enjoying the game, I mean, they didn't put a foot wrong yesterday. As far as Argentina, yeah, I mean, I was disappointed in them, but I mean, we expected it. We thought, okay, Argentina had their big performance last week. And I mean, for them, for Contempone, beating New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa in 1 year, obviously you think of it as, it's a successful Rugby Championship. And then if you look back at it again, he had opportunities to win this competition. I always knew that without Patrono and Kramer, they would struggle. However, the discipline yesterday, you did mention that, they had 3 yellow cards, or 1 red card and 2 yellow cards yesterday. And I mean, all 3 of them was actually, individually forced. It wasn't a team yellow card they got. I mean, it was 2 was foul play and wasn't deliberate knockdown. So I'm pretty much sure, Contempone will be disappointed with that. And we all praise their discipline, because I was shocked in the week when I saw that they didn't consider yellow card the whole Rugby Championship. And then just when you back the discipline, like you back the performance, they put in a horror show. So for them, obviously they will be disappointed. They're still very inconsistent. They can beat anybody on the day, and then they can get a 50 against the same team the next week. And it happened a few times this year. But for the Boks, I think they really, they're positive. I mean, there's a few selection headaches that Rassi has now in that back line, fullback, fly off. So he's in a good place. The Boks are in a good place. And they were the best team in the Rugby Championship, and they showed it yesterday.
Vickers, Jade talks about innovation. Obviously, when I started watching the game, I only got to watch the game this morning. But yeah, picked up a few things from the first 15 to 20 minutes. So in that first line out, so Eben does the whole trickery situation. They keep him in the air, but he passes the ball backwards, which means now the line out is over, by the way, according to the law of the game, that is, of the laws of rugby. So he passes it back to Peter Steph du Toit, right? So innovative, first of all, catching the opposition off guard. And then the second one, they go to Norkia and they more. Third line out, they go to Ox in the front of the line out where there's no need to jump, right? So in looking at the innovation and looking at the different pictures that the Springboks are painting for opposition, keeping them guessing, how important is that from a coach's perspective to present different pictures for your opponent so that you keep them guessing every single time? How important is that for your team?
It's key. It's 100% key. I think it's not about presenting different pictures. It's about presenting the same picture with different outcomes. So, because then, as a defensive team, you want to be always thinking, what are they going to do this time? So it keeps everyone on their toes. I think if we saw that from Argentina as well. I mean, their first 2 or 3 lineups, they just went straight to the front man, to the scrum half, and they played. So it goes to show that if you, as a team, if you have a coaching staff that are always being innovative, they're trying to think what to do, how to be unpredictable. It always keeps the opposition guessing. And I think in this case, if you look at that, it's very important. Like I said, giving them the same picture, but with the different outcomes and different variations. I always talk about for example, you always want to give them the same color, but then they don't know that on the back of that color is a different color, so a different card. So for me, that's very important for coaching. I think that's where the Boks have done since this time with Tony Brown. Yes, Rassie has always been that kind of coach. He was always given that kind of unpredictability, but we've seen it a lot more now. It's almost like he found his mojo through Tony Brown as well. So yeah, credit to the Boks for all they come up with. I mean, we've seen from scrums they've used Chase and Kobe to put the ball in the scrum. So now I'm just waiting for the one where, or even the line out. So now I'm just waiting for the one where in the scrum they stop using the loose trio. Maybe they use it at the 12s and get Jasper Wiese to stand in at 12 or 13 to run the ball up.
Okay, fair enough. I'll allow it. Hugh, the statsman, the gardener, anything that stood out on the numbers side of things regarding this particular game for you? I mean, we understand that Oxen Che could be one of the nominees for World Player of the Year because he's literally obliterating the opposition like no other loose head prop, or actually like no other prop currently in World Rugby. But any numbers for you that stand out from the performance of the Springboks?
Well, you can't go off scrum stats because scrum stats is only on your own put-in. So officially, no Rugby Championship team lost any scrums this weekend, according to the stats. Everyone was 100% scrum success. Whereas we know,
Brilliant.
obviously, that the scrum dominance from the Springboks was massive. And Vuya is correct. Argentina recognised that and got the in and out sorted. I think the one for me that stood out when I was having a look at the player stats is as Jade alluded to, the line breaks for the Springboks. So if you look at the 3/4 line, Arendse 4 line breaks, Dialende 2, Creel 3, Colby 3, Fazzi 2. That's 17 line breaks in the game is a remarkable amount. 17-3 is just incredible. 765 meters gained by the Springboks compared to 220 by Argentina. Just a phenomenal attacking performance, especially in that first half. Some of those tries, you know what I like about the tries as well is, if you compare it to New Zealand, who we'll talk about in a bit, New Zealand can score transitional tries, best in the world at scoring off transitions, and they can score a first phase try. The Springboks tries were coming after multiple phases. They were getting the ball on the halfway line and working their way to the try line. Only really Ireland are the other team who can do that. They go about it in a very different way to the Springboks, but that covering 40, 50 meters in an attack, working your way to the try line, it's just brilliant to watch. So, yeah, definitely the line break stats is the one that jumped out to me from this game.
Yeah, nice. Vickers, another point now, before I jump into Jade. Actually, let me talk to Jade first, and then Vickers, there's one thing I need to ask you. It's related to the sevens aspect and the sevens influence currently in the 15-man's game. Jade, I spoke about Oxenchair. You've mentioned Oxenchair a few times on this on our conversations in this pod or in the space. I mean, what more should this guy be doing now to really get recognition he deserves? Because I was looking at those scrums earlier this morning, and I actually took some clips out and I've posted them on my timeline as well, in terms of the dominance, in terms of how well the Springboks work as a unit in those scrums. As Oxenchair seems to be the one that's leading the forefront because he's always stronger than his opponents. And obviously, France is kind of like the anchor who kind of assists in that dominance as well. Obviously, there's a very good sync in terms of the technicalities. Maybe Jasper Wiese can work on his ball handling skills there with his feet. But I mean, what are your thoughts regarding the Springbok dominance and how good is Oxenchair?
Oxenchair is brilliant. I mean, Oxenchair made us completely forget about Steven Kitsoff. I mean, honestly, the Boks supporters soon forgot about a guy like Steven Kitsoff, who's been a world-class loose head for the past decade or so, so he's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, and the thing is of Oxenchair that I like is he's a strong carrier. He has good hands, he's got a good rugby brain in him as well. He can throw a pass as well. He knows to keep it. He runs for that big body of his. He runs good lines as well when he does take a standoff. So I really think, Oxenche should, if there is a real, I know the Irish would again come out and say, but Dennis Furlong and all of those guys as well. But I mean, if there was really a prop putting the hand up to be nominated for World Player of the Year, Oxenche deserves to be there this year on his performances. He's been delivering 9 out of 10s every game. I think it was just maybe the game against New Zealand at Ellis Park where he was a little bit quiet. But other than that, he's been absolutely brilliant, world class right through. And if you're looking at what he does, where he came from, he's been the guy that, is coming from the bench, changing the game, the focal point in the bomb squad. I mean, last year we remember him coming on against England in the semi-final and winning the game basically for the Boks and getting dominant penalties. And although loose sets tend to be the more aggressive of the two scrummages, because I mean, your tight head's always your anchor at the scrum. He's the one that's supposed to be flawless, and your loose set is the one that tends to get penalized more than the other one. So, but for me, Oxenche, he's come on leaps and bounds. I don't know. I don't know if he's has this element of him where he's showing a little bit of more leadership on the field as well. He's always calm, he's making dominant tackles. So, Scoop, you know what? For me, I back you when you do say Oxenche. If there's a guy that can win World Player of the Year this year, it can be Oxenche. He's right up there, but there's a few other South Africans also that's putting their hand in it, and it just shows a dominant team. But you know what? The Bok Pack is dominant, and I mean, if you look at it, the way a guy like Ruan Nokia came into this team this season, I mean, the Boks were a little bit at a crisis at lock when he did come in. They lost Loot and obviously Erich Snyman and Frans van Boster. And the pack is so strong, so dominant. He came in naturally and just played his game. So it just shows, the work and effort and the cohesion this Bok pack does have. They're very dominant. They are a world-class pack. I mean, if you're going to look at this team in 10 or 20 years' time, you're going to remember, the pack of the Rassie Erasmus era. And, I mean, they've been dominant right through. At scrum time, at line-out time, if you look at the way the Boks set up, they did not have, maybe we look at Australia, like Australia yesterday. Australia had Valentini, Walton, and 2 locks. That's all good jumpers. Sometimes the Boks hardly use Peter Steph the toy. Sometimes they'll have 12 lineouts and 5 or 5 to 8 of them would be on Nokia and just show how dominant he is at lineout time. So, I mean, they're good. They're very, 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 very dominant forward-pack team. And, yeah, that comes with years of a cohesion and playing together for years. So, Scoop, you know what? All credit to them and credit to Ox. I really vouch for him. If it was a year for the prop to win it, I would say this year for Ox.
Fair enough. Funny that you mentioned Ruan Nokia as also one of the standout players in that forward pack because he's had to really step up his game. I mean, he's been very dominant or very consistent with the Blue Bulls over the years. And yeah, I think he's one of those players that actually is probably a like for like with Sauce Mustard if we're looking at comparing players out there. Funny that Rassie said that he's not hard enough in one of the interviews he had, I think a week ago or 2 weeks back. Vickers, now bringing me back to the initial topic I wanted to ask you about. Regarding Seven's influence currently at 15's level, because I see now or notice that Argentina also kind of taking some of their Sevens players and bringing them into their 15's, and it seems to be working quite well for Contempomi at this point. But obviously looking at the Springbok side as well, I mean, we forget where the likes of the Chelsea and Colbys come from, the Arenses of the world, maybe not what's his name, or Apelele Fasi, but I mean, from what you are seeing currently, maybe New Zealand and Australia aren't doing it quite as often, but Argentina and the Springboks and maybe a few other countries as well are bringing that Sevens influence into their game, which now is creating a lot of speed on attack, and which is creating a lot of mismatch in terms of how quick the Sevens guys are, man, and how quick the pace of the game is as well. In terms of, yeah, what are your thoughts with this influence of Sevens players now in 15s?
My side, it's always been positive. I've always felt it needs to become like a policy for most unions. We've seen it a lot from tier two teams and sort of like the bottom half of the top tier one. We've seen it a lot like that of those teams. I mean, we talk about we talk about Argentina started this I think in 2016, where they started using a lot of the players that they were under 20s into their seven setup, and we've seen some very good results from them. I mean, Pablo Montero was one of those guys. The recent one now that we've seen is it's Isgro. He's in that mix. We had seen, I can't remember the names fly off, but he was playing sevens, and then he was moved to 15 and playing 15s. So we've seen it in a couple of countries. I think for me, it's always been it's always been like a good foundation for, especially for backline players and your loose trio. Yeah, and I think Scoop, New Zealand, they started with it a little bit, and then they sort of fell away from it. If you look at Caleb Clark came from sevens, you got Adi Savia came from sevens. You got Rico Ioni, who started at sevens. Now you might see a guy by the name of Vai. He's a winger. I think I'm not sure which franchise is with, but he's
For the Chiefs, Cody Vai.
yeah. He's also 18-year-old guy who's literally tore the seven series apart. So I'm pretty sure he'll get his chance very soon into obviously the Super Rugby. I think for me, as I said, it's more about the willingness of the union, the willingness to try something new. I think we've seen now Kwagga Smith. Kwagga Smith was nowhere in SA Rugby. Didn't even play SA under 20. He was not even in the SA schools team. So he literally went to sevens, spent 3 or 4 years in sevens. All of a sudden, now everyone was talking about Kwagga in the sevens, moved to the Lions. The Lions dominated everything because of the mentality he brought from sevens. And then all of a sudden, now he's won 2 World Cups, he's one of the key members of the Springboks squad. So I really wish we could start to use it a lot more. But obviously, like I say, identifying which players need it and which players. I still think Julius Jorenzo Julius, he would do wonders on the seventh circuit, and he's an outside center. So if he would go to sevens, he's going to face a lot more one-on-one tackles, one-on-one movements on defense, and if he would be included in the Springbok squad, it would be like second nature to him. So I think there are some players that we can identify that can definitely go that route.
Oh, well said there, Vickers. Well said. Jade, you wanted to jump in there?
Yeah, man. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in and just say that if you look at the way Argentina and Ireland as well, what they're doing as well now, they're copying, the blueprint that South Africa and New Zealand had. I mean, New Zealand is endless amount of players. I mean, the Messams and the Cullens and all of them, they came through a sevens program. Most Mulayina, them all played sevens for a year or two. But what Ireland and Argentina are doing now is they're actually looking like the Argentina sevens team basically replaced sort of the Jaguars in a certain extent. And Ireland looks at the sevens team as being the fifth franchise. So, as a development to getting guys in. So it's a perfect route path to get guys through. Obviously, like you mentioned, you're going to have your specialist guys. That's basically sevens guys, But I mean, for guys coming out of school, getting into the sevens program, I'm all for it. And I think more guys can benefit from this because long term, you'll see the benefits at sevens. And you'll see it at 15s later on. So, yeah, I'm all for it, and I agree with Will on this.
Yeah, and now moving into the positional topic before we jump into the All Blacks Australia game. So we've got the dilemma or a dilemma within the 15 position. We've got a dilemma at number 10 and 9 positions. Vickers, Apelele Fasi is looking very strong. Actually, no, Hugh. This is directed for you. Apelele Fasi is looking very strong at 15 currently. Ville Leroux is almost in the Sam Kane position where it's either a sentimental selection going into his 100th cap or has Apelele Fassi done enough to keep that jersey from what you've seen so far?
I think Razi's spoken, hasn't he, in press conferences about how his role has changed and will change moving to the next World Cup. His role is now to bring on the new guys. I think Fassi probably has done enough to keep the jersey as first choice. I think Villiers will still get games. I think the Springboks are going to keep rotating quite a lot. I've been watching Chasing the Sun, which is available in the UK now, and one of the things that Razi says in one of the episodes is the Springboks are impossible to analyse because no one knows what team we're going to field because we rotate so much. So I expect them to keep rotating, and I expect Villiers to keep getting caps here and there. But I think Fassi's done enough to say that he is, if you're playing the World Cup final, maybe not tomorrow, but in a couple of years' time, that he'll be the one who starts that game. I think the interesting thing about Fassi's stats is 19 passes in this game. 19 passes. When you think of his strength as a strike runner, now he's not doing Villiers style Hollywood balls left, right, and centre. He's not quite that level, but you can see he's starting to grow into that role and he's starting to build into that level of his game. So for me, Fassi is probably number one fullback for the Springboks right now, but I think Villiers, I still expecting to see him picking up caps here and there.
Fair enough. Then Vickers and Jade, you've got Andre Pollard, you've got Mani Libok, you've got Sasha. Fortunately or unfortunately, Sasha is injured, which has basically narrowed the numbers for that 10 jersey. But if Sasha is available for end of the year tour, let's say, I mean, who starts for the Springboks at number 10 going forward? Or as Hugh just alluded to, that the team is constantly changing. You never know who will start. Vickers, maybe you jump in, and then Jade, you can finish that off.
It's pretty settled. 15 Fassi, 10 Sasha, and 9. 9 will depend on who's starting at 10. So if Sasha starts at 10, you can start a guy like Faf de Klerk, or you can start Grant Williams. You can start even Jaden, of course. But I think with Mani Libok now having not kicked in this game, with Jaden kicking, I think they will probably tend to start the combination of the two if they start together. But for me, what I think is that South Africa found a very good 10 with Sasha. I wouldn't start now to rotate him because he's still also new in that role. You must remember, he's also still new. I think he needs time to settle and make it his own, so that by the time you get to World Cup 2027, he's comfortable and well polished in that position. So I would definitely go with Sasha. Is definitely number one. I think if you start Sasha and then you can't have Mani Libok in the team, because obviously Pollard will always be making that number 23 if you go on a 6-2 or 22 if you go on a 5-3 split. So yeah, that's just my opinion. And then obviously the 9, I think 9, I'm very happy with Jaden. I think Grant and Jaden are probably going to be the key ones. I'd still love to see Faf come back and see what he can do. But at this point, I think South Africa is in a very good position with Jaden and Grant.
Yeah, Jade?
For me, it depends on conditions, Scoop. Depends on conditions and who you're playing against. Obviously, if you're going to get conditions similar to what you saw in the World Cup final and semi-final last year, Andre Pollard is your man, because then you're going to rely on his kicking and his attributes in the north. So it depends on your conditions and who you're playing. If you are playing at Twickenham and it's bucketing down with rain, and obviously, that game suits Andre Pollard. He plays there, he plays in those conditions. But then again, like Vuyo said, you've got to also expose Sasha to those conditions. So Sasha comes in from the bench and he learns. So for me, obviously, if you're going on form and you're going on who is a new kid on the block, it's Sasha. And he starts. But I also have to look at the conditions as well.
Oof. Hugh, I'm sure you would probably go for Mani first. Money.
It depends on the rest of the team. The guys are right. It's all about the combinations, and it's all about the team you're playing against. I don't know if Mani's the right guy to play against Ireland, for example. But then it depends. It depends on how much the Springboks want to back themselves with the razzle dazzle or whether they want to go back to being ties. We've seen that they've got multiple ways of playing the game. You know, in that second Ireland test, they didn't score any tries, but they were still leading up until the clock hit 80. So it depends on the opposition. It depends on where the game's being played. It depends on who else is available. I think, like I said earlier, I think we're now in the era with the Springboks where the talent pool is so deep and so high quality that it's going to be different guys every time. And they're just going to keep rotating and rotating and rotating and use that as a strength.
Fair. Do you know who is not rotating? It's Razor Robertson down under in New Zealand. Jade, your favorite team in the whole wide world. The All Blacks against the Wallabies. Last week, the All Blacks, not so impressive. Brilliant start, but the finish was the main topic for the past, 6-7 games now this season? How they're not scoring points in the last 20 minutes, how Razor needs to make changes at first 5-8, the combination between 9 and 10, the forward pack needs to change. There's been so many things, so many elements, and so many discussions regarding this current All Black team. They are 6-3 currently. If they go to the end of the year tour and they win everything, Razor gets a gold star. But if they go to the end of the year tour and they are 2-1, he gets a B minus. If they are 0-2, well, something needs to change. But what have you seen so far? Because obviously, I mean, what happened in Wellington, first of all, congratulations for breaking the cake tin hoodoo. But I mean, what have you seen so far that gives you confidence that Razor is the right man for this job? Or what have you seen so far where you go, I'm not so sure about Razor going forward?
No, I won't turn my back on Razor. I mean, if you're looking at what gives me confidence of Razor, we'll just look at the Super Rugby highlights from 2017 to 2024, and then you'll get a clear picture of, what guy Razor Robertson is, And if you can see and his track record, then you can't go easy. You also look at the way Rassie Rasko started and, the way he got in the foundation here to come from. So obviously it was rocky. It wasn't, plain sailing for him as well in the start. Obviously what I would like to see from Razor, and I spoke to Wanda yesterday about it, is for him to, give a few guys more opportunities. I mean, we don't know what Tossie can do, at scrum time against the Boks because he hasn't been tested, but we've seen him yesterday coming on from the bench and getting 2 steals. We don't know what a Bully Proctor can do at international rugby, but he's not getting opportunities. Same with the Ruben Love. It's no use you giving those guys an opportunity against Japan and Italy, for example. No offense to Italy, but you got to know what they, how they're going to handle those pressure situations. So I would like to see him rotate more. But in all honesty, I was impressed with their performance yesterday. I think their performance yesterday was arguably one of the better performances under Razor. I think they were, after the 10 minutes or so, they were really, really good. I don't think Australia was that bad. They made a few mistakes here and there, a few coach killers here and there. But I liked what I saw yesterday, especially on defense from the All Blacks, where the Wallabies were coming, keeping the ball for long periods of time, coming at different angles, lower seal, Ikitau, Antapai Sami, Tom Wright was really testing, that All Black defense, and, they stood firm for a few times. So for me, that's positive scoop because, I mean, last year we just came and we said under Scott McLeod and his defense, they've been conceding 2, 3, 4 tries a game. And, yesterday you could see like one of the shape, the defensive shape that I think it's Scott Hansen, who's the defensive coach, what she's trying to bring in. So for me, a good performance yesterday. I think there's a few finds in New Zealand rugby this year. I think a guy like the Mighty Williams, a guy like Tupo Vai, and Wallace Atiti, obviously, those are the finds of the season for New Zealand so far this year. So a winner for him now is what do we do? Bowden Barrett was brilliant yesterday. At 10, do we go back to Dan McKenzie? Does he look at Dan McKenzie being from the bench, that impact? Because Bowden is really somebody that can steady the ship. And going to New Zealand, going to having the tough end of your tour where they play England, Ireland, and France, he's the guy that that's going to control the team and dictate around. You can work with him as he's more of a dictator. He can control the tempo and everything. And you can't have a guy like Will Jordan on the wing. I mean, he's a game changer at fullback. So questions for Razor. What's he going to do? I'm pretty sure he has his own plans and stuff like that. So pretty sure, knowing Razor Robertson, he'll choose another Crusader somewhere along the line and surprise us as well. But I'm I'm okay. I agree with you. For me, I think it's gonna be not even a B plus or B minus. I think so far it's been a B for Razor. I expect more of him as a coach, but let's see. I said I'm gonna give him 18 months before I really judge him.
Fair enough. The All Crusades, apparently that's the new All Black name. They are no longer the All Blacks. They are known as the All Crusades because Razor keeps selecting his Crusaders players. Because you've spoken a lot before about the element of the 10 jersey within the All Black setup. We saw what Bowden Barrett did last night, which is something that we've been crying for so long. The fact that he could get those forwards into good positions, or the short passes, the long passes, giving that forward pack good directive on attack, presenting different pictures on. Like we spoke about the line-out situation, it's the same thing during the backs when they have the ball or a 10 has a ball, because you want the opposition to keep guessing what you're going to do, right? But seeing what McKenzie has done since he started against England to last night or to yesterday, what Bowden Barrett did at 10 versus what he's done from playing fullback. Was this the change the All Blacks probably needed in this Razor era? If I can call it that. What do you think?
Yeah, I've said it in our group. I think 100%. It is the change that you guys have always needed, because firstly, with Damian McKenzie attacking at 10, he doesn't really attack. He's very passive on 10.
Wait.
He never
Sorry, Vickers. What do you mean, you guys?
Don't worry, we will get to that some other day.
This guy, Scoop.
Look, I think for me, the most important is that Damian McKenzie doesn't really attack the line. He's passive. He only attacks the line when he wants to break the line or when he wants to take contact. Whereas Bowden Barrett can attack the line and still get the pass away. So I've always felt that with Bowden is a better 10 at this point in time for this current team, because that's what the guys need. That's what they need, and that's what they've missed with Moanga not being there. So I've always favored this decision, and I'm very happy that when Bowden started, things started coming in together. So I think for me, the most important was it's the combinations, because I don't think Razor knows exactly what he wants from each player just yet. And I think he's building that. He's building the data. He's building the game, the game analysis or individual players. And I think definitely going into end of the year tour, I'll be surprised if McKenzie comes in and starts at 10. It was very surprising though when McKenzie came in, he moved to 10 and they moved Bowden to 15. I would have moved McKenzie to 15. I still believe McKenzie is a better 15, but maybe a lot of people see it differently. But for me, I think Bowden at this point, New Zealand doesn't have that 10 that they need. So Bowden is your guy. I mean, just going through the game, I think with Australia, you could see that they changed the defense style. They started rushing a little bit, coming off the line, which Bowden handled very well. They kept the ball from exits. They were attacking from exits. From kickoffs, they were attacking. They weren't just kicking the ball back. They were attacking, and they got a couple of line breaks from that. So you could see that there was a change of tactics from them. But I think with the way New Zealand defended, they kept on knocking at them, and they weren't getting any rewards for all that amount of attacking. So I think if you look at the game itself, it was a better performance from New Zealand because they had Bowden, and I think individually some players stood up. I felt Scott Barrett he stood up. I think we have to credit Antonio Leonard-Brown this past Rugby Championship. He's been absolutely brilliant. It's unfortunate that he didn't start as many games. I think Caleb Clark, another top outstanding player yesterday. Sititi carried a lot, carried well. I don't think he was in a negative in terms of going forward. I think he is definitely making good strides to make the jersey his, either the 8 jersey or the 6 jersey at the moment. I think just overall surprised with the Tupovai. I don't know whether the guys backed them that much, but for me, one of the surprises of this tournament for New Zealand, I think he stood out. He's not one of those players. I don't think he was one of those players coming in that everyone said, this is our guy, this is our Arres Neyman, or this is our Lutiaga. But I think he had his moments from the first game where we were criticizing him into the end of this championship. I think he's definitely grew. Cody Taylor, absolutely brilliant on the day. The whole Rugby Championship, of course, and just from my side, I think it's nice for Razor. It's nice to end a tournament like this so that he can start now to do the analysis for the end of the year.
Yeah, well said, Hugh. Any numbers for you from the Allblacks side of things, or from a Wallaby side of things? I understand, obviously, Joe Schmidt, we understand, is under huge pressure to perform or to get his team performing. But I mean, we are seeing little bits of positive direction from what they're trying to do and what they're trying to achieve on the field. And their performances are in leaps and bounds, yes, but I think once he can keep this current team together, I think he can do wonders with this current Australian team. And also, just like where Razor is currently, maybe next season in the Rugby Championship, we will be talking a different story a year from now, looking at what they're building down under. But in terms of numbers and in terms of stats, what have you seen, and also what do you think of the two teams, the Wallabies and the All Blacks?
Well, a lot of the stats are very even. It's quite surprising, really. So defenders beaten, 24 each. Defenders beaten is the same as tackles missed, so 24 tackles missed each. Passes, 202 to 193, so within 10. Offloads, 11 to 7. Turnovers conceded, 12-15. Rucks 111 to 114. It goes on much like this, for most of the stats. It's very even. But the ones that stand out as being uneven are meters gained for the All Blacks, 612 to 302. So carries are within 12 carries of each other, but meters gained for the All Blacks more than double what it was for the Australians, and obviously tries 5-1. And I think that speaks to Australia's fragility, where a missed tackle at the moment is a try for them, where if someone breaks through the Australian line, they're scoring. You can contrast that to other teams, the best teams in the world at club level and at international level. If there's a line break, if there's a missed tackle, it doesn't lead to a try. Whereas with Australia, if someone's through, then it's a try. And you have to wonder what's going on with the backfield cover with Australia. When someone's breaking through, where's the fullback? Where's the blindside winger? Where's the number 9 sweeping? They're just not there. The Will Jordan try was a great example of that. He skipped a few tackles, burst through, and then he was through. And then, the last stats I want to drop, I dropped these in the group chat as well earlier, is Caleb Clark is on a hot streak, 8 games in all competitions in a row. He has scored a try. I think he's got 14 tries in his last 9 games in all competitions. This is a guy who was criticised a lot, including by me, and he's really changed his whole approach to the game this season. And he really, I'd like to talk to him and to understand, maybe is it Vern Cotter who's managed to help him in understanding this is your role in the team. So when Caleb Clark gets the ball these days, I think he got 0 passes yesterday. You get the ball, you put your head down and you run towards that line. Don't worry about anything else. We'll come to you. We'll service the ruck. Put your head down, stand on the wing, and when you get the ball, run at people and run around people, and it's really working for him. So those were the numbers that stood out for me. The only other thing that I noticed at the beginning, when Australia, right at the beginning, when they run that fancy play off the back of a scrum, when they hit the blind side, switch back to the blind side, that's very Joe Schmidt. You know, they call him the chess grandmaster for a reason. And I watched that and I was like, that's something that I can imagine Joe Schmidt's Ireland team playing the way. And it very nearly paid off for them. They very nearly got a score off the back of it. So we are seeing progress from Australia, but I still wouldn't get too excited. Number of kicks in this game, 14 each. That's like half what you would normally expect in a top level rugby match. So yeah, a slightly strange game. It was a bit like a Super Rugby match, but yeah. So I wouldn't draw too many conclusions about Australia just yet. I still think they've got a ways to go.
Slight dig there. Super Rugby match. All right, guys. I think that brings us to the end of this particular segment of the TRC, which was a great tournament, to say the least, to be honest, an exciting tournament as well. I expected maybe the Springboks to go 6-0, but obviously Argentina had different ideas within that aspect. But nonetheless, we come into the section now where Vuyo, Hugh, and Jade have selected their TRC team. And I would like also for you guys that are listening in, maybe during the course of the day, because we will put up the team, a full team of how the selections went tomorrow on Monday. It'll be on my page as well, the Rugby Scoop. But yeah, since we are naming the team, so what you've seen as fans as well, who do you think? Or you can even put down your team on the comment section as well, and I'll put something together from all our selections. Vuyo, since you are the first guy on the list here, tight five. Number 1, loose head, hooker, tight head prop, then tight lock, loose lock. Number 4 and 5. So who do you go with?
I've gone with Ox, Taylor, France, Maheda, Eben Elizabeth, and Tupovai.
Ha! Didn't expect Tupovai. Hugh?
I've gone Ox, Cody Taylor, Tyrell Lomax. I've gone Ruin Nokia, and I'm playing Peter Steph-Tutoy in the row.
Oh, okay. I see you. Jade?
Okay. I've gone Ox, Cody Taylor, Tyrell Lomax, 4 lock, Eben Elizabeth, 5 lock. I've gone with Marcus Kramer. You'll see later why.
Jeez. Okay.
That anybody who's thinking of having a go at me for playing Peter Steph-Tutoy in the second row, Jade's picked Kremer in the second row. So just forget what I said.
No. We can't forget. But yeah, I mean, I think what's coming out from this particular one is the Kremer and obviously moving Peter Steph-Tutoy to lock. But I think 1, 2, 3. Oh, Tyrell Lomax at tight head. Jade and Hugh. That's who you guys have chosen. Vuyo's gone with France. But then at lock, Vuyo, who do you have it for?
Eben.
And Hugh, who do you have it for?
I've got 2 5s, really. I've got Nokia and Peter Steph.
Oh, and then Jade just got Eben as well. Okay, fair enough. Ooh, then who goes to 5, guys?
It's up to you. You choose.
Yeah, I'll go with Tupovai as well. Right, Vickers, back to you. No, there's no bias whatsoever. Vickers, back to you. Number 6, blind side flanker. Number 7, open side flanker. Number 8, eighth man.
Yeah, this is tricky for me. I think this is the tough one. So I've gone blindside flanker. I've gone Peter Steph-Tutoy. Then I've got open side flanker. I was stuck between Kremer and Mac Wright, and then eighth man was Adi.
Ooh, McWright. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Hugh?
Blindside, I'm going Kremer. And then I'm going to disagree with Razor, and I'm playing Satiti at 8 and Surveyor at 7.
Hugh, you are thinking like Rusty Rasmus here, moving people out of position. But yeah, Jade.
Yeah, so because I moved Kramer to lock, so that gives me Peter Steph at blindside. And then I've got Satiti at 8. I had to make place for him. I really didn't think of Ari at 7. I really didn't think of them. I went Carlos Dezano at 7 for his first 4 games at for Australia.
Jeez. What's with you in Argentina? What's happening over there? Oh, okay.
It's Australia. Dezano didn't miss a tackle on Rugby Championship, so I think I just deserve
Yeah, I considered Tizano for that. I considered Tizano for that exact reason, but he didn't play in the last couple of games, and that was it.
Yeah, I like the fact that some of you have gone for Satiti at 8. I would also put him at 8 and RD at 7, definitely. Peter Steph du Toit on that blind side, that's a good balance for that back three.
It's unfair though, Scoop. It's like, it's unfair. Guys, it's unfair because you have to select the guys who were in their positions. If for example, Marks started one game out of the whole Rugby Championship, if I say he was the better player, I mean, Cody Taylor has been consistent. I mean, we all know this is okay. I feel we should select the guys that played in those positions for the tournament, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, you've got a fair point. But okay, cool. Yeah, I hear you, Vickers. I hear you. That makes sense. Because then at the end of the day, all the game structure and the patterns are based on the position you play in the tournament, and obviously the influence thereof comes from that.
What if with Razor he is clearly picking players wrong in the wrong positions?
Then we're exposing him.
I think to close it off and to say the Lucy's, I think we will all let's agree on this. Let's go Kramer, Peter Stefan, Frank, and Ari at 8.
I'm happy with that balance.
There's no
100%.
Okay, final words, Vickers, on this back row, and then Hugh, you share yours. I think Jade has just shared his.
No, I'm happy with Peter Steph, Kramer, and Adi.
Adi, okay. Hugh, you're not happy?
Who's the fetcher? I don't see who the fetcher is.
There's no fetcher in 2024.
Okay.
Right, 9 and 10. Vuyo.
Very controversial. Grant Williams, 9, and Sasha Feinberg, Mgomezu.
Who? Grant Williams and Sasha?
Yes, Grant Williams at 9, 10, Sasha.
What? Hugh?
9 was hard. There was no standout candidate at 9 really, but I've also gone for Grant Williams, and I'm going for Thomas Albanoz at 10. And I know he only played the last couple of games really, but I think he was my standout.
Yeah, fair enough. Understandable. I think he does light it up on the park. Jade?
Yeah, I've gone for Thomas Albanoz at 10 as well. Just stopping Sasha. And then I've gone for Patrono at 9. I struggled at 9, guys. I could have chosen anybody. Nobody was really consistent, so I just went for Patrono at 9. But yeah, I think Grant Williams at 9 would do as well. Nobody really put their hand up. Besides Jaden yesterday, but it's been a little bit too late.
So Williams and Albanoz then basically take it as the halfback combination. I mean, looking at that forward pack, yeah, they could actually razzle and dazzle because they've got a very good and mobile forward pack to work from as well. So, yeah, maybe there is a good balance there. Maybe there isn't, but who knows? And then we go midfield, 12 and 13. Vuyo.
I've gone for the SA combination, DDA and Jesse.
Balanced. Hugh?
I'm expecting Jade to say DDA, so I'm expecting DDA to get in. So I've gone for Chocobaras just to shout out how good I think he was. And then I've gone for Creel at 13.
You know, you used to call this guy Chocolate Bars back when we started this pod.
Yeah, that still makes me laugh.
Chocolate Bars. Jade?
Nah, I went for Chocobares at 12 and Creel at 13.
Oh, we haven't picked DDA. People are going to hate that.
No. I have to go DDA and Creel for me as well. Good balance. They know each other as well. And they've built something special post World since Lukhanyo Arm got injured, by the way. And people actually hardly talk about this current combination and the form they are in. My goodness. Like we said before, it's very difficult for Lukhanyo Arm to take over the 13 jersey because Creel hasn't put one foot wrong in the number 13 jersey. So I'll go with the Vickers midfield on this one because defensively and on attack, they will read each other well. They'll complement each other as well. And remember now, Dialinde's role has slightly changed a bit. So he's more of a passer than a crash ball or wrecking ball now at 12. So there's a bit of flexibility in that regard where he can adapt to situations if the game plan wants the team to change a wee bit. Hugh, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, if you go with Ben Darwin in Game Line Analytics, he'd say that you should pick the centres you should pick a combination, not two individuals as well, because the cohesion between the two is so important. So I can buy the argument.
Fair enough. Oh, I'm happy that I can make very good arguments about rugby because a few times I'm told Andy Azi and Aitan. I'm joking. All right, the back three, tight one, tough one.
Oh, this is
here we go.
This is hot. Look, I know. I'm okay with both guys. I'm okay. Carreras or Clark, I'm okay at 11, right? I'm okay at 15 with Jordan.
Wait, because it sounds as if you're on the fence. We want distinctive. We want permanent stamps on 11, on 14, and on 15. We don't want, no, I'm not too sure, maybe this guy, but I'm not sure that guy, he can't pass left, he can't step right. No. Straight to the point.
Yeah, but okay, but we have the same issue at lock. Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna stamp my authority now. Carreras, Jordan, Desmond Kobe, 14.
Jeepers. Okay. Hugh?
I've gone Caleb Clark, 11. I've gone Cheslin Colby, 14. And I've gone Juan Cruz Malia, 15.
I can hear it. Jade?
Oh. The dear reason, I'm only playing. I've gone Caleb Clark, just popping Carreras. Just popping Carreras at 11. Obviously Cheslin at 14 and then Will Jordan at 15. But like Vuyo, it's a coin toss between Carreras and Caleb Clark.
But yeah, I feel like we're forgetting that Will Jordan played another game at 14 and at 15, and it didn't go very well. Honestly, I feel that Malia and Fazzi both were quite clear of Will Jordan as a fullback in this TRC.
On my list, funny enough, Hugh, I have Jordan or Fassi because I felt Fassi had a good outing as well. But looking at what Jordan obviously did yesterday, I think I went for him. But like I said, I'm okay with Jordan or Fassi. I think for me, those two were looking at the games, obviously. I think Jordan just can't stop scoring, man.
That's another thing with Jordan. If you have him in your team, you know you are guaranteed some form of Try.
Can't not pick Will Jordan, guys. We can't.
Just give me a second. So Fassi and Jordan both scored 4 tries. Malia got 3.
Okay, first then Jordan goes to 14. Fassi stays at 15.
What, ahead of Cheslin Colby? Are you insane?
Let's stop the 4 tries as well.
Cheslin can still play 11, no?
No. Cheslin's a 14, guys. We already agreed. Cheslin 14.
Yeah, Cheslin's 14.
I think how many games did Jordan play and how many games did Fassi play?
Oh, no, hang on. I'll have to look it up.
Should be 6 each.
No, Fassi.
Oh, no, he didn't play against the All Blacks. He didn't play against the All Blacks.
Fassi only played 2 games. No, 3 games. Jordan played. The first game he came from the bench, and then he played wing, then he went to 15.
Yeah, so Jordan played all 6 games, and he scored 4 tries. He got 2 against Argentina in the second Argentina test, which were both on the wing, and then he's got 1 in each test against Australia, both at fullback.
Yeah, Jordan at 15 then. Problem solved. Colby at 14. Colby at 14. 11, man. 11. Caleb Clark.
I think we all picked Clark, didn't we?
That's the balance of the back 3.
No, Jade and I went for Carreras.
Yeah. He went Clark, but he wasn't too sure about Carreras or Clark, but he went Clark. There it is. That's your 15, ladies and gentlemen. Any arguments, guys?
Call the team out, Scoop. Read it out from the start.
No, we'll put it out.
Okay, I've got it. It's Oaks, Cody Taylor, Tyrell Lomax, Loxo, Eben, and Tupo Vai. We've got a loose trio of Peter, Steph, Kramer, and Audi. 9 and 10 is Grant Williams and Thomas Albernos. 12-13 is Damon Dallander, Jesse Krill. Back 3 is Caleb Clark, Cheslin Colby, and Will Jordan.
Dum. Well done. All right, ladies and gents. I think that brings us to the end of our Rugby Scoop, Sunday Scoop. Brilliant show, brilliant minds, attentive listeners, and also engaging listeners. They've sent quite a lot of comments on the comment section. The panel, don't forget to also add your comments as well after this pod and respond to some of the questions or some of the comments that the guys have put out there. But yeah, thanks once again to our listeners. Thanks once again for all the support, guys, throughout these competitions. Now, from next week onwards, we know what it is. Ndaba Zinto and Leinster. It's going to be hot. It's the URC. Whoa, there's a lot of games to watch. There's a lot of information to take in, but I can't wait. From next week Sunday, the URC is back. Scrumming Fly-Off is back. Ndaba Zinto is back. Thank you, Vuyo. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Jade. See you guys next week. Have a wonderful Sunday. Have a great week ahead.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Jade,
Thanks,
good luck to Tottenham, bro.
Just FYI, the All Blacks won the biggest trophy this year. Bye-bye.
Ciao.